Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Red Shirt Down, and today I'm going to be building a cube out of this bulk lot that I bought on eBay. This is going to be part one of a series that I'm tentatively calling Trash to Treasure. And I'm going to be breaking this down into a cube to show you that you don't need to have the most expensive cards in Magic to have a good time. Hopefully, this will give you some inspiration as to how to do this yourself with whatever you have laying around, or just a random eBay listing. As you can see, the box has already been opened. I have tried making this once before, but here we go. So we're going to open the box. I'm going to see that this seller gave us about 2,000 bulk cards, plus a pack of Dungeons & Dragons Adventure in the Forgotten Realms, and what I'm assuming is the rare pack. So some number of rares are going to be in this package. Let's see what we can build. So step one is going to be discovering what sets are in this bulk box and seeing any synergies that they might have with each other. First, we do have this pack of Adventures in Forgotten Realms. We're going to set it over here. That's going to be for later. And then again, I'm going to show you this rare pack where we can see the Mer Superion. We're also going to set that aside. Dreadmalkin, this might be a player if we do anything aristocrat-y. It's not fantastic, but again, we're seeing what we can build. So there's about 2,000 cards in this box, and what we're trying to do is build something that is a good starting point for anybody who's curious about Cube, but also, ooh, Llanowar Elf, that's a huge hit. Is also trying to, be a self-contained fun time by itself. Ooh, that's a really good one too. That's a very good aggressive threat. Alright. Oh, and Double Masters 2022 is going to be in here as well, which is going to be a great set to help fill out some of those spots that you might just not have any idea what to do with. Again, right now, Lava Dart, that's great. Lightning Axe, that's pretty good too. Fiery Temper. See if we can pull a Madness deck in this cube. That'd be really unique. Thought Scour, Opt, Merfolk Trickster. What we're trying to do here is just, we're getting our colors, we're getting an idea of what could be in the box. Lightning Bolt, oh yes. This, at least red, is going to be pretty strong. A lot of times people think that you have to have either the most powerful cards in Magic, or you need to have a lot of experience to build a cube Grape Shot. Fun and vintage, but not going to happen in this environment. Still cool to find. You're going to need a lot of experience to build this cube for yourself and your playgroup so that you can have a good time. But truly, as long as you put a little bit of work into it and have a little bit of good understanding of how Limited likes to play, you truly can build a cube out of just about anything. Yeah, a lot of Commander Baldur's Gate cards in this set too, which is good because it was a fun draft, but it's bad because it has a lot of commander mechanics like Initiative, and they don't always transfer well to 1v1. So we may end up playing them, we may end up cutting them. Outland Liberator, love this for your artifact removal. It's always good to have a green creature that can just blow up an artifact. You'll see a lot of cubes these days running the Haywire Might because it's 1 mana, but Haywire Might, or that fungus from 1, I forget its name. Just anything really. Also, just pass by a Thermal Alchemist. That'll be a really good role player in a spells deck. So, in this cube, I am striving to have a nice 5-color balance. Stone Rain. But I'm not necessarily beholden to that now or in future projects. You do not need to have a 5-color cube. You can have a cube that's all a single color. Whatever you and your playgroup think is fun. But it looks like this probably wouldn't get its value back, or maybe Deadly Dispute. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is enough money in here, but that's not what we're doing with this video. Sky Elder, that'll be good for a prowess type build. Feed the Swarm, Rabid Bite, 2 good removal spells back to back, love to see it. A lot of cards that, you know, were really fun in their own draft environments, but, you know, didn't see play in Standard, you know, won't ever see play in any other constructed formats, and cards that are just too low mana curve for your EDH players to get to really care about them. They're not cards that don't have any fun in them. They have plenty of fun. You just gotta find the fun, and a lot of times that can be done by just being able to perpetually draft. Love this art for Tragic Poet. If we end up with enchantments as a theme in the cube, we're definitely going to run that. So that in the next episodes of this series, we can break down each color one by one, kind of look at it through the lens of mana curve and kind of what their synergy pieces are looking to do, and kind of get a good idea of what we're looking at. If you're not power maxing, you can really have some old favorites come out to shine. So when you're building this yourself with whatever you have around, with whatever piles you even want to look through, just make sure that you're keeping an eye on your mana curve. Remember, this is not Commander. You don't start on turn 3. You want to have a decent density of 1s and 2s to keep the game going. One of the big mistakes from new cube builders is they try to build these value piles, but then they don't want 5-color good stuff happening. Well, if there's no pressure on the opponent's life total, why shouldn't they just try to be as greedy as possible? Treasure Cruise. Wow, that's absolutely gonna be a lot of fun. So one of the ways that you prevent those 5-color good stuff piles, Lord of the Rings, cool, is by pressuring the life totals before it becomes an issue. Gutter Snipe, spells, Faithless Looting, more spells, great, great, great. Staunch Throne Guard, this is a big maybe at this point. Monarch is very powerful. I do have it in a lower power cube of mine as the only Monarch enabler, so that's why it's a big maybe. Because I found that it's more fair than a lot of other Monarch cards. Anybody can draft it, and it does cost 5 mana, so you're not getting that value ball rolling right away. Fall from Favor, too powerful. This card is very, very good. So we're about a quarter of the way through the cube, and I am seeing a couple of the major archetypes kind of coming together. Not exciting, but you know, cube classics that you would expect to see in a lot of lower powered environments. I'm seeing a spells deck in blue and red. I'm seeing a bit of aristocrat stuff happening with black. I'm seeing, you know, your classic mono green stompy style. Way together, that could be fun. What I'd really like to see is some more specifics, like maybe artifact synergies to help that out, or you know, some more of these adventure cards to help be 2 cards in 1 fling. That could be a fun little card to play with too. But really what we're doing is just getting a feel for what the cards want to do. Bushwhack, fantastic. This is another one of those very modal cards that can help you fix your mana, or it could be a removal spell later on in the game. Love to see that. I have had a lot of experience with building cubes in the past 6 or 7 years, and that is not even counting the few years beforehand where I was interested but a little put off myself from just starting. And that's kind of what the problem is you end up in this, you can end up in this situation where you're so afraid of making the wrong move that you don't make any move, and that is not what you want to be doing. This cube is not going to be perfect. No cube is perfect. This cube may not even be perfect for you when you get it. But you know what you can do? You can change it. Monastery Swift Spear. This card is another one of those auto includes. Red is going to be a force in this cube. There's something about tinkering. Just sitting down, looking at some new cards, and they don't have to be necessarily newly printed, but just some new cards you hadn't thought about, or joining a discussion online, and something will go off in your head. And it's like, oh yeah, I could do this thing, and this will bring this. And just playing with a different play experience than you have been. So I don't think any cube is perfect, or even necessarily ever done. It's the big lie our community likes to tell. You know, cube is forever. Once you have a cube, you never need to update it. Now we are getting a lot of fixing lands, and that makes me happy because I was going to add that there's one area I would have added cards from outside of this bulk box, and that would have been if there were not enough fixing lands in the box. I would like to have probably about 5 of each dual color land. So if there's not enough in this box, I will add just your basic tap lands. Modern Horizons 2, that is a great set to add to the draftable cards, because you have things like, I mean, not Flourishing Strike, but things in the same vein where they do so many different things for you, it's hard not to love it. I loved drafting Modern Horizons 2. Obviously, you know, people when they hear it think of, you know, your pitch elementals or, you know, Ragavan, oh my goodness. And I will admit that in Constructed, the top end of MH2 was a big miss. But for draft, like Nested Shambler is great, but for draft, it was incredible, and still is. I think it's my favorite of the 3 sets that have come out by this point. When it comes to just the cards they could add to a cube. Hard Evidence is just fantastic. It gives you 2 game pieces for 1 blue mana. It's a sorcery, so the spells decks love it. It makes a clue, which is an artifact token. You know, it gives you that blocker. Another thing I want to add is due to how divisive these Universes Beyonds can be, I wasn't planning on including any but Lord of the Rings in. So if we see something like, you know, a Doctor Who card or, you know, a 40k card, even if they'd be really good for the environment as a drafting set, I still would leave them out, with the one exception being Lord of the Rings. So there's something I'm probably going to avoid, by the way. I like this card a lot. It's just a nice way to buff your team and kind of get in there for extra damage, except it has this line, the ring tempts you, and I'm going to try to avoid adding that mechanic to this cube too. Welcome back. As you can see, I cleaned up that half of the bulk box from my table, so we're ready to get into it. But before we do, I have a special surprise for those of you that have stuck around this long. It is a Modern Horizons 3 code card. There we go. Looks like it's in focus. Congrats to the first person who picks this up. Alright. I personally don't like these frames. I think they look a little washed out, but that said, if this is my only copy of Valorous Stance, it's going in the cube. Because it's just one of those, you know, modal cards that just helps smooth out the fact that this cube is restricted by what it can have. At this point, I do think red might be the strongest color that I've been opening, and it's for that same reason that a lot of these cards that people would call bulk, which, to be fair, this has been pretty bulky, is because the most played format now is Commander, and like your little aggressive dudes just don't do enough with 3 opponents on 40 life. Overrun, classic. This is probably getting in there too. So things like, you know, your little aggressive cards that can really tune with Ether. Your little aggressive cards that can really get in there in 1v1 20 life formats just don't do enough, so the greater Magic playing population doesn't really care for them. So when you build something that's into a more 1v1 focused situation, you kind of get some really excellent spells for monetary wise for free. You know, you have your commanders, you have your standard, your modern, and there's really a very small amount of cards that see serious play. And then you come to cube, and it can be literally whatever you please. Crystal Slipper. This is nice. I would prefer to see a rabbit battery in the remaining half of this box, but just having something that repeatedly gives haste for 1 mana in red is just... It's an effect we desire. Hopeless Nightmare. This card's probably worth $1 by itself. As I'm saying this right now, one of the most popular decks in Standard is this kind of bounce deck that continually makes you discard cards from your hand and then bounces this card back to your hand. You can see how this box, which was obviously not thrown away, but given away by somebody, has so much good stuff in it. There's just Monstrous Rage. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There is just so many good cards that almost nobody cares about after they've drafted them. After this series is over, I'm probably going to do a video about buying the next bulk box to kind of show you what I'm looking for. because there is good bulk and there is bad bulk. I was able to tell from the seller that this was going to be a good bulk for this project. Yeah, this project has been on my mind since last July. But I could tell that this was going to be kind of ideal for this. And it's not the same as when you're looking for money, like if you wanted to just flip it. You know, there's plenty of great channels on YouTube where they open bulk boxes from eBay, from Facebook Marketplace, and what they're trying to do is get their value from it. And I have no problem with those channels. I think that those channels are fantastic. That's part of what inspired me to do this. But they always look at what money you can get out of the boxes. I'm trying to look at how much fun you can get out of the boxes. There's a rare mixed in. So who knows what that rare pack is for, but Phylactery Lich could be fun. Wow, a Dandan. A Dandan! 2 Dandans. So generally when you're looking at bulk on eBay, you're seeing it from stores that have gone through and, you know, stripped the rares, basically. They open a pack, they take out the rare, they take out the foil, and then they can't be bothered with doing the rest because working bulk is a big job by itself. And so you'll find really fun playable cards in those bins. They can go from like 40 to about 50 or 60 bucks. I wouldn't buy them if you were planning on making money off of them, because they generally are not going to get you your value back. But in this instance, you know, buying something that's, whoa, cool. Okay. In this instance, buying something like that would work great, because you're going to get a lot of similar sets, or sets that were kind of designed around the same time, and they're going to just give you a really solid base for where to start. And hopefully as we get into breaking down the colors, you'll stick with me and kind of learn, you know, my methodology anyway, for how to get from 2,000 to 60. Truthfully, you could take this any number of ways, and you're going to kind of see my own personal bias when it comes to how I build this cube. I'm going to be looking for very strong mid-range. I'm going to be trying to build enough aggro in white, black, and red that someone can reasonably assemble a deck out of those 3 colors and build something kind of aggressive. Because I'm not planning on blue having a ton of control, just the nature of a bulk pack, we're going to be looking at more of a blue tempo shell. And then green is kind of do classic green stuff. Early game ramp with your Llanowar elves, with the all the 2-mana ones that we kind of opened throughout the way. And then we're going to have big fatties at the top end. It looks like I'm definitely going to be showing off artifacts as a theme, and adventures are going to be a fairly decent mechanic. But yeah, this looks, now that we're almost done, I see probably about 300 cards left to sort. I'm seeing that there's going to be, a braid. This is the first one I've seen, and that is excellent. Just another card that no matter what iteration this cube ends up taking, this card will be in it. Something I haven't seen, and I didn't expect, but I haven't seen, is board wipes. Didn't see any in white or black. They don't tend to be bulk cards. They tend to be cheap cards when you can find them. There's that new one from Murders at Karlov Manor that I think is like 40 or 50 cents. The name's escaping me right now, but because it doesn't see play in Standard, and because, you know, the legacy formats all kind of have the Wrath of Gods, the Damnations, the what have you, they don't really care about. So you can get them fairly cheap, but no one ever sees a board wipe and goes, I'm not going to play this, and throw it in their bulk bins. So, unfortunately, it looks like there's going to be no Wraths. With that said, one of the benefits of not having Wraths is we're going to be kind of more playing to the board. And I already do that in This Is My Combat Cube. And I do have an environment that I already Viscera Seer. Big hit towards the end of the day. This is an excellent Aristocrat enabler. Really, evasion becomes a big part of what you're doing. You want things to have vigilance. You're going to want things to have trample. You're going to want things to have flying, menace. Just, you gotta save your 1-for-1 removal for things that desperately need it. And otherwise, your creature combat is going to be the backbone in this thing, which is going to be fun. Timeless Witness, again, another one of those late hits. Love to see it. Not as good as Eternal Witness, but also kind of better for value. Of the 2 packs, the next thing I'm going to open is the AFR pack, the sealed pack. See what Wizards sent us. I mean, obviously it didn't come from Wizards, but this guy was trying to add an incentive. Unexpected Windfall, that's really good from it. Contact Other Plane could be fun. I'm not sure if I want to introduce die rolling for 1 card, but it could be. And then our rare is Triumphant Adventurer. This is probably not getting played. Ooh, and a foil! Monk class! Yeah, the Triumphant Adventurer probably isn't getting played because it just, again, with one of those mechanics that you don't really want to be keeping track of extraneous pieces. And then for the rares, Mere Superior, and it's a 2 mana 5/6, but you can only use mana produced by creatures to cast it, so I don't know if I'm going to include this. Fresh Meat. This would be excellent if we did have board wipes, but we don't, so that's going to be nope. Sad Robot. This is an auto-include. Cannot wait. Arachnus Spinner is not going to work here. Shivan Phoenix is a little expensive for what it does, but, you know, you might need 1 big red creature to have. Invader Parasite. A little bit of land destruction. Ooh, Chaos Imps. This might be the big red card, actually. A little expensive. I prefer my top end in red in a mid-range cube to be about 5, but it's got the Rakdos insignia on it and everything. Sage of Latnam. Sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. Again, really wanting us to go with that artifact synergy. Scepter of Insight. A little expensive for a cube environment. This is something you might expect to see in a slower format like Commander, but in cube this is a 3 mana do nothing and then 4 mana to draw a card. Another 6 mana red creature, this time helps buy you back spells. And then lastly, Evil Twin. Huh. And there you have it. Oh. And Asperia the Inscrutable. That may just make it in Azorius. But there you have it. 2,000 plus cards broken down into their color combinations. And now from here, the next video is going to be white. Looking at all of the white cards and seeing what we can build out of it. Thank you so much for sticking with me this far, and I'd love to hear your feedback about how I can make this series better for you.